I'm going to share with you our business plan for building a $100 million painting business, and our goal is actually to go well beyond that. Right now, we're doing about $25 million a year. Last year, we did 16, the year before 13. So we're growing really quickly right now, and we're about to pour a lot of gas on the fire. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how we plan on building a $100 million business. There's a few specific things I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to break down the background and a lot of our failures. We had years of failures and mistakes that we made along the way that have guided our decisions for how we're building our business today. So I'm going to share with you those mistakes that cost me years and probably millions of dollars in business. And then I'm going to share with you our business model. Like, how are we planning on growing and scaling these companies, and give you a good idea of where we're at today, and then give you a glimpse of where we're headed next. So this video is a little bit of an experiment. It's actually a recorded webinar from our membership community. Someone had some questions about why we're doing a partnership versus franchise, how we're planning on scaling, and I answered that question. So let me know in the comments if you like the format, give me any feedback. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Eric Barstow. I'm the founder and CEO of Painting Business Pro, where we've coached thousands of painting contractors to build companies, have coached hundreds of people to build $1 million painting companies, and I also, co-own a portfolio of painting companies called National Painting Group, where we're building and scaling a whole bunch of painting companies. So I'll cut it there, and we'll jump right into the webinar. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below if you do. All right, so Sam texted me this question the other day, and I told him just to submit it on the webinar because it's not something I could easily answer on a text message. So he said, curious, with all the knowledge and resources you have, why not go the acquisition route, franchise, or just multiple location route? I remember you saying you want to build some large figure painting business, like $1 billion or something. Maybe you're just doing that in a different way. I've had my team set in place for a while now. Started liking this industry a lot more now that I'm working on stuff I actually enjoy. So my mind is starting to lean towards these things, but wanted to get your thoughts. Okay, so I want to talk about this thing about I enjoy. That's just something I want to come back to for you. So like many people, there was a point in time where I wanted to start more companies or more locations. And if you guys have been following along, you have heard me talk a lot of people out of doing that in the last year or two. Not because I think it's a bad idea, but I think it's bad timing. And so my path here was basically in 2010, started Foothills Painting. In 2013, gave Ben 50% of Foothills Painting. He now runs it. All right, so that was essentially like my exit from that business, which I was planning because I didn't want to be in the painting industry. Similar to you, Sam. I didn't want to be in the painting industry, so I was planning an exit, and the exit was I'm going to have Ben take it over. And then the same year in 2013, when I realized, you know what, there's an amazing opportunity in the painting business, and I'm really good at it, and there is no overnight success anyways, and every business basically turns into building teams, serving customers, marketing, sales, like every business turns into the same thing. How about I just focus on the industry that is 100 billion a year that nobody wants to be in, including people who are making a bunch of money on it. The competition is garbage. So it's literally 2013 where I'm like, the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm just going to go on this industry. Ironically, that was also when Ben basically like met all the criteria I was kind of grooming him for to take over some of the company. And so as a man of my word, I followed through on the promise to him, and I gave him 50%, which meant I had all this free time. And so that was also, I just had happened to start Painting Business Pro like right in here. I didn't plan on building that as a business at the time. I planned on building Painting Business Pro just to learn how to do stuff on the internet. I didn't think it was a business, really. I thought like maybe I'll make a couple $1,000 a month or something. So this was when I went all in. And so the very first thing I did is Ben actually doubled the business that year. So I made about the same money, actually a little bit more because our margin got better. And I didn't do anything. And I wasn't doing a ton before, but like it was really like, man, this is a great setup. And so I thought, well, I need more Bens. At the time, I had Painting Business Pro starting to grow. So what I did, Sam, is I posted on my website, want to partner with me. I started getting a bunch of people applying. And, so then people applied. Oh my God, Zoom is annoying sometimes. People applied. And the first thought I did have was franchise. But I just didn't like it. Everything about a franchise rubbed me the wrong way. So let me tell you some of the problems with the franchise. Number one, misaligned incentives. I was an economics major. Like, I believe a lot in incentives. I believe a lot in incentives being aligned. And with franchisor franchisee relationship, incentives are not aligned because the franchisor makes money with increased, like more revenue equals more money. All right. But the franchisee is more profit equals more money. And sometimes those conflict where like driving more revenue, that's unprofitable with marketing that's not working or it's unhealthy growth is not the best thing for the business to do, but it is the best thing for the franchisor to do. So I didn't like that. I also didn't like that the franchisor just isn't even tied into profit. I'm like, I get paid my 9% cut or whatever it is, whether you're succeeding or not,
Yeah.
which I just didn't like. I also really didn't like the limited territories. You know, I really love entrepreneurship for the opportunity that it provides. And I think when you've got these limited territories, it just makes it fucking hard. You know, it makes it really hard to grow a big company. You know, I remember at the time I was also involved in another company and we had a lot of 5-star painting franchises buying leads from us. And I remember the biggest guy in 5-star, his name was Mike Christensen, and he was doing $1.5 million a year, and he had bought 2 of their locations. That was the biggest company. But if you just do the math on franchise, like 1.5 million, if you're making a healthy margin, as you guys know, you're making like 300K. But then if you're paying 9% royalties, which sometimes it's more because of all the like nickel and diming that franchises do, like national marketing that doesn't really benefit you, you know, you end up making like 200K. Not even, sorry, that makes 11% left, which is 175K. So I felt like just not good selling it. And then the next thing was transactional, like super transactional. It just didn't feel like there was a lot of heart and soul in it. It felt like I'm going to sell you the rights to this, and then I'm going to give you this, and you're going to do this, and that's the end of the deal. And like our top, I mean, it's a really great deal for a franchisor, I think. I think it's a really shitty deal for a franchisee. I also didn't like the territories. Let me elaborate on this territory thing. So not only does it make it hard to grow a company, um, but also like you have as a franchisor with the way it's kind of designed, you have to break up the franchises. So if you think like Denver and you're a franchise and you're like, okay, I think Denver's like a $20 million market for me, which is probably more than that, but let's just say it's a $20 million market. If I sell the whole market to one person, I give that person a great opportunity. But if I chose wrong and that person ends up being totally content with $2 million a year, or they end up sucking at business, I can't put another person in that territory, and I've got $18 million of dead territory. So what I have to do is I have to divvy it up. Divvy it up to like 6 to 7 people to hedge my own, you know, risk with that territory. So I really didn't like that. And then the last thing is I think entrepreneurship, like part of the fun of it is like creating your own culture, creating your own brand, having your business start to be like an expression of you. And a franchise basically rips that away. And so there's no personal brand. And I just don't think you have that as much. And so it's sold as entrepreneurship, but the reality is it's basically operators.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to get to the 1.5 million where you can afford a team to not be in it. But at that level, you're paying so much fucking money. And I don't think the franchises are giving you that much. That's why we kind of went through this. I had a handful of conversations with people and I said, you know what? We're not doing a franchise. Like it just doesn't align with our heart and our soul. It doesn't matter align with our values. I've got all these issues with it. And if we just took an honest look at ourselves, we said, you know, what we really want to do is like we want to be partners with people. And so then, you know, we started having conversations with people about partnership where I'm like, look, dude, I want to be partners with you. I want to be partners where like we both make profit. We're just incentivized in the business as you are. Like that solves a lot of things. We love people. We care about people. We love entrepreneurship. We want to embrace entrepreneurship. So number one, it was like alignment is what that did. Number two, I wasn't worried about competition. No concern about competition or territories. Mostly I wasn't concerned about this because at the time, Sam, I had a painting company in Fort Collins. My best friend had a painting company in Fort Collins. Another friend had a painting company in Longmont. And then I had 3 friends who had painting companies in Denver. I mean, I knew so many people building multi-million-dollar painting companies right on top of each other that I'm like, and none of our companies were limited because of other companies. They were limited because we were dipshits. You know, we didn't know how to market. We were arrogant. You know, we weren't building good systems. We were totally getting in our own way, right? But the point is that like the lack of growth was not because of competition. It was because we weren't good at building teams yet. We weren't good at sales yet. We weren't good at marketing yet. We weren't good at customer experience yet. So we literally have 4 painting companies that all cross over each other in Denver at this point, right now, our companies. So we have Foothills Painting, Imperial Painters, Elkhorn Painting, Harmony Painting, and all 3 do business in Denver. So that was the second thing. We love the custom brands, and I think customers prefer local brands. So then basically what we did is we started talking with people about a new offer. Instead of talking to them about franchising, we started talking to them about partnership. And we basically said, look, we just want to be in it all the way with you. Let's be 50-50 partners. And then we ended up turning it to like, all right, we'll be 50-50 partners. But once you get to 1.5 million, then you'll earn back 20% equity and it'll be 70-30. Our thinking there was like, once you get to this size, like we've done a lot of the heavy lifting. Now you know how to run the business. And so you should have more equity because you're not going to need us as much anymore. And we don't want you to be resentful, on and on. So that's kind of what we went with. And so in 2014, we launched one company up in Michigan, and then it was like successful enough that we're like, oh, look, it works. The guy quit his job, he made more money, and it was like, okay, it works. So then in 2015, we started 4 companies. One was in Kansas City, and that one did really well. One was in North Carolina, and that one, so this one did well until we got fucked on that business, basically. This one was doing 15K a week in revenue within 6 weeks, and then we got fucked. I'll tell you how we got fucked in a minute. And then we had a company in, what was the name of it? Great Plains. Was it Great Plains? Yeah, I think it was. And we ended that one. And then we had Imperial Painters. So this was with Alyssa, still partner to this day. Today does 2.5 million a year or so. So what happened and then what we did is we're like, hey, not bad, 3 out of 5. Let's go crazy. It's 2016, 9 companies. All right. So we launched 9 partnerships in 2016. We closed 8 of them by August. The 9th was Hunter, who runs Elkhorn Painting today, and my partner in MPG, my partner in National Painting Group. He'll do like 6.5 million this year. Let me tell you the mistakes here. All right. And this is why I tell everybody, don't start opening new locations. So at this time, we were doing like 1.6 million a year at Foothills Painting. At this time, we were doing like 2.2 million. And at this time, we were doing maybe like 2.5 million. And we did so many things wrong right here. The companies we were successfully operating before this year, Alyssa, this one in Foothills, and then Elkhorn in this year. So we had 5 companies we were running. It was Foothills, Imperial, Elkhorn, Company in Michigan, and what was the other one? Oh, Great Plains. Oh, this was Great Plains. Anyways, we were running these 5 companies, and we started all these other companies, and Foothills was like 2.5 million a year. So the big mistake that I made, there's tons. So let's just look at all of them. So big mistakes. Scaled more locations before the first location was doing very good. Now, most people will be like, what do you mean doing very good? $2.5 million business. That's pretty good. Like if you just, and we go, well, shit, if we just start 100 of these at $1 million, we got like $100 million company. And, it's going so great with Ben, and it went great with these next couple people. We could do 100 of these and 100 million, and our profit's going to be like 10 million, and I can staff it like this. And I was able to work out all the math, and that was like our hypothesis at the time. But when you've got an offer like this, when you're only a $2.5 million company, and, someone's going to share ownership with you, like, it's not a good offer. Like, we couldn't find superstar partners because superstar, like, what's the upside? All right. So even if we do what you do and we get to 2.5 million and we have 50%, that's 250K a year. Best case scenario for most people. And so really the offer is like, hey, let's build $1 million business that makes 200K and you get $100,000 a year. Like, you're not attracting great people with that. this year, when we tried to scale too many locations at the same time, when we started 9 companies, my partner Ben, he would fly out there and like launch it. He'd launch the marketing. He'd hire a door-to-door team. He'd set up estimates, book jobs, hire a couple subcontractors, produce a job, and fly home. And he would do all that in 7 days. So he was out of town every other week for 16 weeks. He was on the road launching a company, home for a week, on the road launching a company, home for a week, on the road launching a company, home for a week. I had one-on-one meetings with whatever, 14 business partners a week. Dude, we were so overextended. We couldn't support anybody well. We ended up closing 8 of these companies by August. And these 5 companies went out there and did whatever they did, 3 or 4 million or something. And we just felt like, man, we really fucked these guys and our own company by chasing more companies. Because if we would have put all that energy into these new companies, into the existing companies, we would have made more money. Our partners would have made more money. We would have worked a lot less and would have enjoyed our life a lot more. And so that was a huge mistake. And so after this whole thing in 2017, like we did nothing. I mean, we were like so fucking burned out from all those mistakes that year. We basically lost $70,000 on startup costs and we lost our year. And we said, you know what? We did this all fucking wrong. What we really should have done is we should have built a $10 million company first and then scaled. Because once we prove that we can do something that almost nobody else can do, now we've got something that's a valuable thing to offer. And that's how it'll be easier to recruit people. We'll bring on better people and we'll grow like that. And so that's basically what we did from like 2018 to now. From 2018 till now, what have we done? We did 1, 2, 3, 4, technically like 5 new companies. One was, let's see, 2 startups, and we're done with both of those. And then we did 3 acquisitions, and those are all going really well. And so today we've got 8 painting companies. We'll do around 23 million on those companies this year. And then we're going to start bringing on more people. And we thought in 2019, at the end of 2019, we said, hey, in 2020, we're going to get our financials in order, like really good financial tracking, our CRM in order, so we know our numbers inside and out. So there's like accountability and transparency so that when we scale, it's like really tight with all the numbers. We're going to organize our fundamental like systems, like SOPs, sales, marketing, etc. We're going to get financials in order, CRM in order, fundamental systems in order, and then recruiting and recruiting essentially in order. Like that's our game plan for 2020. Tighten up these companies. And then 2021, we'll start launching more partnerships or companies, acquiring whatever that ends up being. And we got to the end of 2020 and we just looked at all this and we're like, it's not good enough yet. So we went 2021 and so we said, run it back in 2021. We went through 2021. We're like, this still isn't good enough yet. Run it back. 2022, still not good enough yet. Run it back. 2023, still not good enough. And now finally we're at the point where like, dude, our company is pretty fucking dialed right now. Like our SOPs are dialed, our recruiting, our onboarding, our training, our CRM, our financials, our numbers, like we're running a pretty tight operation right now. And we got clear that like, if we look at the companies we're running today, like the bottleneck at all of these companies is the rate of growth of our partners themselves. Like they're just not learning fast enough. Like we're just not the bottleneck in any way, shape, or form. And we haven't been trying to scale our existing painting companies for the last few years. We've been trying to make them better. So how do we improve lead conversion, sales rate? How do we get really dialed with our marketing, get our financials really in order? How do we get way better with our customer experience? So we've been working more on like the health of companies, not intentionally trying to grow them. And we have been growing a lot. We went from 9 million to 12 million to 16 million to 23 million without trying to grow. We've grown more than we did when we were trying to grow. And what I mean by trying to grow is like the focus is on more leads, more estimates, more sales, more people. It's about more versus better. And so we've been focused just on better for like 3 or 4 years. And we just feel like our processes are like really fucking dialed now. And so now we're ready to start bringing on partners. So that's basically what we're doing. And that's why every time people are like, hey, I want to start opening locations, I'm like, dude, there's no way your company is buttoned up yet, because it took us years to button up our company good enough. And if I would have just had this kind of thinking from the beginning, then back in 2014, when we started our first partnership, instead of 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, instead of those 5 years launching 16 companies or whatever it was, instead I spent those 5 years just getting one company to a clean, healthy 10 million a year. And then we started going, I would be way the fuck further than I am right now. And it would have been way easier. And I would have made way more money in the process. So if I could go back, I would do that. That's how I would do it differently, but it's okay. That's what we're doing now. And I feel like we're in a super exciting spot right now, but